Welcome, everyone, to the new Friday Night Talkdown show. My name is Zach McGibby, and I'm glad you could join me here on this special live show. This is a new show I'm just going to try out, see how it goes. This is going to be an interesting show. It's going to be essentially a news-driven show. I'm going to try and I'm going to try and not get spoilers into this show as much as I can. But if you guys want some spoilers in the future, just let me know on Twitter at @RawIsGibby or on Facebook under the same name or in the comments below from this video. So from this, I plan to do maybe an interview here usually at the beginning of the show. But for now, obviously, I have no interviews lined up. So we're going to go straight to the news. I'm going to be talking some of the WWE news and some of the TNA news. Now, again, I'm not going to go over spoilers in this episode, but if you want to see spoilers in the future, send me a tweet, put something in the comments, post a status on Facebook, let me know, and I'll definitely take that under consideration. Now, before we get started, also I'm going to get through some of your Twitter questions that you sent me, and I thank you all the people that sent me those Twitter questions. Thank you very much. Really helps out, especially for the first show. Now we're gonna get started right now. So let's get started with the WWE news. The biggest news from this week that happened definitely had to be Emma getting arrested and then having been fired and then rehired. This was a weird story and just a story with so much weird twists and turns throughout the entire ordeal. So for those who don't know, Emma was arrested by police for stealing an iPhone case, which I believe was worth around $22. And Emma has stated that she didn't know that she had it, and so she was saying essentially that it wasn't essentially her fault. And that they had no idea. And also, too, we had, after a couple days after that big announcement, we had an announcement from WWE on the WWE.com website announcing that Emma had been fired from her contract. From that, obviously, there's a huge uproar from that, and obviously, right, didn't feel it was justified on what they did for Emma, considering some of the other fires or lack of fires that happened. Because Jack Swagger, he got arrested for, I believe he was caught with weed in his car, and Cameron was caught with a DUI, and Randy Orton had strikes to his wellness policy. He should have been fired, but WWE knows how big of a deal that Orton is to their company, so they're not going to allow them to do that. So obviously they're going to keep him around. So the fact that they went out and fired, Emma after this stunt is just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm glad that they finally woke up and realized, oh, this isn't very good. So this was definitely a weird story that has spawned the legendary I believe it's called Mugshot Emma. If you're on Twitter and you know Positively Page, you'd know that he started this account. It's pretty funny, some of the stuff, but it's no offense to him, but it's probably not going to last very long, and I bet you it's going to die down. But a shout out to at Positively Page. Definitely go follow him. And so the next set of news we have this week in WWE, Bad News Barrett is injured, obviously, separated shoulder, I believe. And so they announced on Raw that his titles have been vacated. And so Bad News Barrett is no longer the Intercontinental Champion. This is disappointing, to say the least, because Bad News Barrett was really going on a run. And I was hoping that this would lead to something more in the future, but it's just a shame. It's kind of interesting because last year apparently there were reports that they were going to do Money in the Bank match with Barrett winning at WrestleMania, but he was hurt then, and so they couldn't do that. So that's quite disappointing. And now, after Money in the Bank, or going into Money in the Bank, he gets hurt again. So Money in the Bank is really not a nice guy for Bad News Barrett. So unfortunately, it's sad to see Bad News Barrett go. Quite ironic to see Bad News Barrett go. But hopefully he can get back in full shape, and WWE can really push him afterwards. Because I don't think they should end the push of Bad News Barrett just because he got injured, and which it wasn't really his fault. It was kind of more Jack Swagger's fault, really, because the move was very iffy. So it's definitely it was definitely it was definitely disappointing to see that Bad News Barrett got hurt again, but hopefully he'll go right back into the spotlight that he deserves to be in, because he should have been a world heavyweight champion twice by now, at least. So definitely, hopefully, Bad News Barrett can really get back into his form after he's off from his injury. Next bit of news, another big injury news. Daniel Bryan, he was out because he was losing some strength in his shoulder from his neck. He announced that he may need to have another surgery at Money in the Bank. Me and Brad Lafrat from the Matt Turmoil podcast talked about this, so definitely go check out Matt Turmoil podcast. It's on Podbean. You can hear me on there. Just did a show, so definitely go check that out. But anyways, again, it was really gone over on that podcast how disappointing it is to see Daniel Bryan is gone, and how he may need another surgery. And I'm not going to try and be a Debbie Downer, but from what Matt Turmoil, the Matt Turmoil podcast, Brad Lafrat told me, his wife is a nurse, and his wife said that it's very likely for injuries like this that Daniel Bryan may not wrestle again. So I hope that's not the case, and I hope that's and I hope he can get back into full form, and I hope he can get back into the main event picture, because I don't want his to be stopped because he got hurt for a long time. So hopefully they can continue that momentum with his push. So next set of news comes down in NXT. Unfortunately for Corey Graves, it looks like his career is over, which is quite disappointing, because I didn't really like Corey Graves, but it's a good thing to see a guy go down with a bad injury. So I'm hoping that Graves can recover here and get better, but from what it sounds like, it's not going to be good for sorry, it's not going to be good for WWE. So hopefully they can find that role for him. He's top notch. I'm not a big fan of his wrestling style. Always going for the legs. I'm kind of not really exciting for me, anyways. So hopefully, I'm hoping that this isn't the case and Corey Graves can get through this. But hopefully that doesn't happen. And you never want a career to end because of concussions or a serious injury, for that matter. So the next bit of news we have, Renee Young was promoted to the main roster commentating booth. Awesome. She's going to be announcing matches on WWE Superstars. That's going to be awesome. I'm glad to see WWE is progressing with Renee Young. She's definitely them, and I'm really glad that Renee Young is going to be up on the commentators booth, because I think that she is a really good commentator. Listening to her on NXT, and it's it'll be cool to see, another opinion going into the match. So I'm really glad that they're giving Renee Young this chance, and it's been I think this is the first time that they've ever had a female color commentator. So I think this is great for WWE, and is really gonna give them a good boost in terms of it's good. It's really going to give them a good boost in terms of publicity and how just some good publicity for them. And also, too, it's really going to be good for Renee Young as she can really harness her skills more with WWE superstars. So congratulations to Renee Young, and I hope she really does succeed because she's a great backstage interview. So another big set of news was the returns of AJ Lee, Chris Jericho, and The Miz. I'm really glad to see the returns of all three. I know a lot of people aren't really excited to see The Miz back, but I'm kind of interested to see where they're taking this Hollywood Miz character. I'm hoping they're going to take this pretty far. I think Miz definitely has that charisma and the talk ability to really pull it off, and he has that previous experience of being in movies for WWE, so he can really play off of that, and he's always been a good heel in my opinion. It's just that his wrestling ability hasn't been that great. I don't think this new gimmick change is really gonna elevate him into the main event, but I think, as someone pointed out, it's probably gonna make him more relevant. And I agree with that too. It's probably gonna make him more relevant, and I think it'll really help out their mid card a bunch. So hopefully they find something really well for Miz, and hopefully I don't think future WWE World Heavyweight Champion, but I think he'll probably will go into the Intercontinental title Battle Royal at Battleground, which is another big announcement after Bad News Barrett getting hurt. And I don't think he'll win, but I think he'll give a good showing. He'll have to give a good showing after Chris Jericho returned, which was awesome. I was looking forward to it. I read the spoilers, unfortunately, which I feel like I shouldn't have read, because the return was just so awesome, and I bet you I would have been more surprised had I seen it, had I not seen the spoilers. Sorry, but I'm really interested to see, because we had Bray Wyatt attacking Chris Jericho during that segment. So that was pretty cool. So it looks like Bray Wyatt now has a new, fresh opponent for him, so that he can eventually go over. Another person pointed this out to me. Jericho shouldn't be jobbing all the time, because then it's going to lose his value. I don't think that's not necessarily the case, because whenever he's in matches, I think he'll still be considered a top guy. So I don't necessarily think that. At the same time, they can't overdo it with Jericho putting guys over. That's essentially Jericho's role, is to put guys over. I mean, he's put everybody over. He's put Fandango over, of all people. So I think it'll be great, and Bray Wyatt really needs a new feud right now, because he didn't conquer Cena, unfortunately, and so he's really kind of in a bind. So they need to find that opponent that can really make Wyatt more relevant again and keep him up in that main event scene. And then we also had the return of AJ Lee, which I'm really happy to see. A little surprised to see it this early, but I think this is good for the Divas division, because it's quite lacking right now in terms of talent that could come in. I mean, Naomi could definitely come in, but Alicia Fox has already had her title chance, and maybe they do AJ Lee versus Alicia Fox in the future, because now AJ Lee is now the Divas champion. Maybe they do Alicia Fox and AJ Lee in the future. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be the case, as we haven't seen much of Alicia Fox since that title feud with Paige. So I'm glad to see AJ Lee was back. I wasn't really a big fan of her winning back the title as soon as she came back. But I understand what they're trying to do for storyline, so maybe I'll grow more to appreciate it in the future. But to all the AJ Lee fans out there, I'm also really glad that AJ Lee is back. So next bit of a little bit of news, we have the teaming of Summer Rae and Dolph Ziggler. This is going to be an interesting duo. They were testing this out in house shows, and they were getting a good buzz, so I guess they decided to put them together. Hopefully, I don't want this to be a Ziggler versus Fandango feud. I just want it to be a one-off, and that's really what I wanted to one-off. But at the same time, the likelihood of that feud happening. So I guess if Ziggler is doing something, that's fine. But I think he's going to be in the Battle Royal. I think he already is, if I'm not mistaken. But hopefully they can do something better with Ziggler after this, and maybe because I've already seen on Twitter the summer of Ziggler tweets coming out, and hopefully they really take advantage of that, and maybe get some good matches out of Ziggler, because he could definitely put on a show when he's in the ring. So another bit of news that leads into even bigger news, in my opinion, is Cesaro actually injured his eye on Raw from that Kofi Kingston match, which you did not see the finish for. He injured his eye. They were set, make sure it was all good, and they said it was good. But now he's got the eye patch going now, which is kind of cool in my opinion. But this leads into the next big bit of news, in which apparently WWE is really trying to enforce a new style to their wrestling product. Now, obviously, from seeing that, it has not worked well for them. I mean, they've lost Daniel Bryan, they've lost Wade Barrett, or Bad News Barrett. Cesaro almost well, he did get injured, but he almost had to go away for a significant amount of time. So it's not really, I think I understand what they're trying to do here with wrestlers. So hopefully this aggressive style isn't too aggressive to the point where there's wrestlers like flies, essentially. I'm going to go through two last minutes for WWE. Oh, now, Shield fans, they're looking for Shield reunions in 2015 and they because I think that'll really help with these reunion plans. I really do think WWE realizes the immense talent that they have from the they're also probably going to have Rollins at a higher role and Ambrose especially on a higher role. So 15, as I got a bit too quick for a reunion, but in 2016, after 2 years with no Shield, I think that'd be a great. But again, they have to push these guys right in order to really make these reunions special. And that's why when DS reunites, it's always special because the guys, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, they're fondly remembered. New Age Outlaws are still fondly remembered. X-Pac is still fondly remembered, and that's why these reunions are always fun. So that's essentially what they have to do with the Shield in order to make these reunions work. Final bit of news. I'm sure people are tired of talking about him, but it's worth noting. CM Punk's contract expires in July, specifically July 17th. This is going to be interesting to see because I'm just going to search up. I don't know when Battlegrounds date is. I think it's after. I think it's after. I think it's after Punk's contract expires. So if Punk doesn't come back before Battleground, I don't think he's coming back at all. So this is going to be an interesting time for WWE in terms of whether they want to re-sign CM Punk. I've heard that they may want to do the same thing they did with Rey Mysterio. If you're not aware, Rey Mysterio's contract expired, but they extended the contract because Mysterio is always hurt, and so they feel they needed the time back. Mysterio, so they extended his contract to essentially the time they want back. So they may do that for Punk here, and they may go to court and stuff like that to try and get this going. So now we're going to move on to some of the TNA news. Unfortunately, a lot of the TNA news, the big ones are spoilers, and I don't want to do spoilers unless people tell me that I should do spoilers. So there's going to be three things I'm going to hit over on the big TNA news. The first thing, Kurt Angle announced before the Impact on Thursday. He announced on the Impact Wrestling website that the TNA television title is no more. So rest in peace, the TNA television title. There were some good matches in the past with that for that title. So it's now the titles in TNA are the World Heavyweight Championship, TNA World Heavyweight Championship. There's the X Division Championship, World Tag Team Championships, and the Women's Championship. So hopefully that means that they can push the other title belts over. Their booking has been solid over the past couple of weeks. I've been really liking their shows lately. I'm still hoping. I'm hoping it doesn't drop off because I think they're doing this. I think they're doing this to satisfy the needs for a new Spike deal because they really need to get popular and they need that new deal quick. So hopefully they can keep on this path of good booking. And I guess the TV title is definitely not in their plans apparently. So second big news, TNA brings back the six-sided ring. This is kind of a bit older news, but they showed off, Dixie Carter showed off a picture of the six-sided ring. And I'm glad that they are bringing back the six-sided ring, but it's not going to be the solution to TNA's problems. It's definitely going to help make them more recognizable and make them better, but it's not the solution to their problems. Obviously, creative booking, even though that's gotten better, getting rid of all these heel authority figures, which rumors have it that they're planning to do soon, and just really pushing the right talents. Because I'm really liking Bobby Lashley as champion right now. Mike's skills are a little lacking, but he's definitely the guy where you're like, yes, he's a world champion, and he is definitely deserving of that world championship. So hopefully, I'm glad they brought back the six-sided ring, but it's not the solution to everything. And the final bit of TNA news, TNA's Bound for Glory is going to be in Tokyo, Japan. This is an interesting move. I think this is a move to really try and get the international audience for TNA, because TNA does have a pretty good international audience. So maybe they try and really expand on that more. And I think this is all, again, to show more of more to Spike why they deserve to be re-signed, So hopefully that's the case. And I'm interested to see. I'm maybe they do a little bit of a Japanese exchange and they have some Japanese wrestlers on the show. Wouldn't surprise me. They probably need that being in Tokyo, Japan. So it's an interesting location, and Bound for Glory is their biggest pay-per-view essentially. So it's interesting that they have it outside of the states and into the international countries. And if they keep doing that, I think they're going to survive in the wrestling business. So that was essentially the news for Friday Night Talkdown. Now I'm going to go over some of your guys' tweets. If you want to tweet me questions, tweet me at RozGibby, and I will definitely take up these questions for whichever show, whether it's the RozGibby podcast or this one, the Friday Night Talkdown. So let's go over the first question here. First question from at Neve04. Sorry if I said your name wrong. Do you think that if Cena loses the belts to Lesnar at SummerSlam, Lesnar loses the belts to Reigns at WrestleMania, that Rollins will try and cash in on Reigns at WrestleMania? I think that's a big possibility. It'll really put over Rollins as a massive heel, and it's really also going to put over Reigns as the top babyface after beating Brock Lesnar, conquering the Beast finally. Rollins comes in and just destroys the whole party and wins the titles. That will really get him over as a mega heel, and it'll really get Reigns over as a mega face. And I believe that's what WWE is going to be planning in the future for Roman Reigns, is to be their next baby face that can really lead the company. And I think Reigns can do that. They just need to keep evolving his character, because Cena can definitely take over the company, but you need to have people cheering for him, because I'm aware that it still brings in news and all that to WWE, but eventually the Cena gimmick is going to wear out, and in my opinion, they really need to evolve the characters and make sure they're not bland, because John Cena is the second coming of Hulk Hogan, as Brad LaFrat told me in his LaFrat told me. Go check out his podcast. So next question is from at Aussie62101. What is the best match of all time? That's very broad. Uh, I'm going to say WrestleMania 25, Shawn Michaels versus Undertaker match. I think that was an unbelievable match and cannot be duplicated in terms of its wrestling skill. Match all time in WWE. I'm trying. Matches weren't bad at all. But this race just absolutely awesome. I'm totally butchering this match because I really like this match. I think that was the best match because the risks that were being taken from that match. Um, and a lot of great matches in New Japan for wrestling. I can't get them there. Also send another question. I'll use the Q1. Another question. What WWE have you gone to? I've come to know. So this one comes from Matt Turmoil. Again, as I said, go check out his podcast. I'm featured on that podcast too. Definitely go check it out. We talk for like 2 hours, just a pure wrestling discussion, reviews. So definitely love it. So his question was, what are your thoughts on Tyson Kidd possibly being repackaged as a masked wrestler? This could be interesting because I know as El Local, I'm wrestler gimmick really to get on television. I'll be just as long as they don't bury him, essentially. That actually, which I was a little surprised about, because Tyson Kidd really kind of carries around that attempt, and his promos don't really come after. His promo wasn't too bad when he was talking to Adrian Neville and he was feuding for the NXT Championship. I thought his promos were not too bad. Not amazing, but groundbreaking, but solid promos that can really help himself get over. Tyson Kidd is definitely a mid-card wrestler in my opinion. I don't think he's going to go into main event at all. I don't think he's talented enough wrestling. I don't think he's big enough. I don't think he's that charismatic. A masked wrestler could change it, but you never know. I'm not too. I wouldn't be disappointed in Tyson Kidd becoming a masked wrestler, to be honest, as long as it gets him on television. As long as he's just not used as a jobber in that gimmick. Otherwise, it's absolutely pointless to change gimmick. Next one comes from @MindOfCarnage. How censored do you think #Kevin Steen will have to get to make it within WWE, and will he be a success? They're probably going to censor Kevin Steen a lot. Kevin Steen, his character is very outgoing and very brash, so they're probably going to tone down his character a little bit. At the same time, he's still probably going to be crazy. Go a bit. I think they're going to try and find a way to harness Kevin Steen's ability to speak and be aggressive while also not being, saying all the swear words, because they are currently in the PG era right now. And he's probably going to be pretty censored. And will he be a success? I think he can be a success in WWE. Again, as long as they push him right. And also, too, I think Kevin Steen needs to get a bit more in shape. He's in shape pretty well already, but I think he has to be a bit more in order to really be on WWE's radar. Obviously, he's on their radar because he's probably going to get signed. I think he is signed to them. He's just finishing off his Ring of Honor tour. I think he can be a success. I don't think we're going to see him in main event of WWE for a while. I think he can get there. He definitely has the wrestling ability, and he does have the charisma, and he does have the mic skills to really be that guy. I think once he joins NXT, I think he will be NXT champion, and I think they will look at him highly. But I don't think he'll be reaching that top title for a while. Probably a couple of years. I'm thinking maybe like 4 years, maybe. Like it's gonna be a while. Unless they think really highly of Steen, I don't think he's gonna be winning a world title in like a while. But NXT title, I could see when he joins. And the final question comes from HWT Podcast. That's the Harrell Wrestling Talk podcast. You could definitely go check that podcast out as well. Great guys, brothers, awesome podcast. Definitely go check that out. And their question was, where does this feud with Rusev and Swagger leading to? I think obviously a match. I think this is going to lead to a match. I think we're going to have one match at Battleground and then another match at SummerSlam. I think we may see Swagger get a bit of a rejuvenation and go over on Rusev. Because now the crowd really got over him, which, as in, like, they really got behind him when he turned face, which surprised me a lot because you've never, ever, ever heard "Let's Go Swagger" chants in WWE. So it was really surprising to me how over he got, probably with the help of Zeb Coulter, but still he got himself over and he looked the part. And I think the problem is I think when I see him I still see heel Swagger, so maybe he has to change how he looks a little bit and maybe how he acts in the ring. So like improve his ring psychology in order to really become that face. I think we're gonna see Swagger beat Rusev at Battleground, but then we're gonna see Rusev come back and just try and crush him with all his might at SummerSlam. That's where I think it's gonna go. I don't know what they're gonna do with Biggie Langston afterwards because he was in that feud with Rusev. I threw around the idea that maybe Jack Swagger and Biggie Langston join up together and become the new Real Americans only as a face team. I think that could definitely work. They've both got the Pro America gimmick going, especially Biggie Langston. So I think it'd be a great match now for Swagger and Langston. And maybe they could do some damage in the tag team division and really kind of rebuild their careers. Because I think Swagger does have that wrestling ability. He does get sloppy at times, but he does have that wrestling ability when he gets going. And Biggie Langston also can really wrestle too. I mean, he's been improving. And I think he can definitely get in the main event sooner rather than later. So maybe you join them together, have them built up in the tag team division for a bit. Let him grow a bit more. I know that Swagger has been a staple in the tag team division for a while, but I think there's still hope for Swagger to be a single star. I don't think main event, but definitely I think he can be back in the mid card and be relevant. So those were the Twitter questions, guys. Thank you for sending those Twitter questions in. Again, if you want to send me a Twitter question for either the Roz Gibby podcast or the live Friday night Talkdown, definitely go send me a tweet at Roz Gibby, or you can leave one in the comments below and send me questions, and I will answer them. If there's a specific show you want me to answer on them, just say I want it answered on Roz Gibby podcast, or I want it answered on the Friday night show live. So definitely do that. Also go to my Facebook page, Roz Gibby. Definitely go check that out. So that's pretty much it for the Friday night Talkdown show. I hope you guys liked it. Plan on maybe expanding on it a bit more, having some more stuff, some more news. If you guys want spoilers on the show, I can definitely get that arranged. But if you don't want spoilers, we can keep this format. I'm really kind of liking this format. I also plan on possibly doing interviews at the beginning. If not, hopefully get some guest hosts on here maybe. So stay tuned for that. But anyways, this is Zach McGibby thanking you for tuning in to the Friday Night Talkdown, and hope you all enjoy SmackDown because that's coming up as I'm recording this up in 7 minutes. So definitely enjoy SmackDown, guys. As always, this is Zach McGibby signing off.